The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewell. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about people not always liking you, but being effective. So as we get into this podcast today, I want to talk about an experience I had with a client last week that was specifically around what they were doing inside of their business and many of the things that they had actually talked about came to this place where we had gotten into a conversation. And it mainly was about, where they were at in their month, where they were at inside of what their program is, inside of what they were offering. And the biggest thing that we started to talk about is I had a client that had committed to a specific result for the month. And as they were committed to this result at the beginning of September, here we were 2 days before the end of September. Literally, we were at like a week ago today. As I'm recording this episode, we were in a place where they jumped on a call 2 days before the end of September. And they were like, hey, I'm not going to hit goal. I'm so far away from it. And, in doing this, they were basically just like giving up. And as his client of mine described, hey, we said we were going to do 30 memberships. We're at 11. We have no shot. And I said, yeah, you're right. Because, with that attitude, you're definitely not going to have a shot. And the fact that you haven't shown up for the last 10 days to two weeks of the month, of course, you're not going to have a shot. But I said, you have an opportunity to change that over the next 2 days. You have an opportunity to finish the month strong. Even though you may not have shown up the last 2 weeks, you still have an opportunity to do that. It's not over until you actually say it is. And so as we got into this conversation, I could tell that he didn't like the feedback I was giving him. He didn't like what I was saying. He didn't like that I was calling him out. And in doing that is, I want you to know this one thing. See, I would rather get my clients results than tell them what they want to hear. There's a lot of coaches out there who are going to build their programs or have built their programs on fluff. They've built their programs on telling people what they want to hear. But here's what I've experienced. Success often requires tough love, and it requires real feedback. See, I'm not going to be a coach who relies on motivation, because I realize that motivation is an exhausting, heavy game to play with clients. My clients get real evidence-based results because I'm not always telling them what they want to hear. And inside of coaching, our space inside of personal development, inside of, all of these things is like, it seems like this whole community has come back to this place of, I just want to tell people what they want to hear so they don't leave me. And in doing that, I think sometimes, we want to be known as the nice coach rather than the coach who's actually getting results. But I can promise you this, that I will not be a fluffy coach who always says nice things, who always points things out. I really, truly feel like a gift that I have is a bullshit meter. And this bullshit meter is what goes off when many people communicate with me, when many people talk to me about what's really going on with them. Now, this is not because I don't like them. This is not because, I don't see that, but what I do see is I see potential in my clients. I see the potential they have. I also see the commitments they have, and sometimes these things are things they can't see themselves. And so when I reflect a mirror back to say, "Hey, listen, I get it, dude. You aren't even close to this month. But here's what I'm seeing. Here's the mirror that I'm showing you. Here's what you said you're committed to. Here's how you've been showing up. And no wonder you're in the place that you're in. No wonder that you are 20 some 19 memberships away from your goal. And there's 2 days left in the month because you've shown up this way. And so the only one who's going to change that is you. The only one who's going to make a difference in your life is you. All I'm going to do is reflect back to you the way that you've been showing up. But here's what I know inside of my program, Habit Based Lifestyle, I hold people to a very high standard as long as they hold themselves to a high standard. And inside of that is we have to hold ourselves to the highest standard that we are committed to making. And so I always look at, listen, if you paid a certain amount of money to be here, I'm going to make sure that you either get results or you get out of my program, because I am not going to do you a disservice by just showing up and patting you on the back and telling you how great you are. Meanwhile, you're not accomplishing anything that you actually set out to do, because that would mean I was doing you a major disservice. And out of that, you wouldn't get results. And I ultimately would not be getting my own results in my program. And that is the dedication that we must make, I must make as a coach, to show up every single day and say, listen, regardless of how my client feels about me, I'm still going to step into that relationship as a leader. I'm still going to reflect back to them exactly what they say to me. I'm going to reflect back to them the amount of work and commitment they put into what they're going to do. Because if I try to coach, if I try to give them more than they give me, now we're out of alignment and we're out of an agreement. And that puts stress on them and it puts stress on me. If they're showing up and I'm not matching that, then I'm putting stress on them and they're having to carry my weight. And this is the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make is, they have to pump their coach up. Their coach maybe isn't showing up. And so they feel like they got to pump them up, or maybe they feel like they're not showing up and they feel like they have to, show up even more. But I don't want people just to tell me their goals. I don't want people just to commit to things. I want them to show me in action how they are going to, show up every single day for their own results, and like why they were doing that. Because letting them be okay with getting mediocre results means that I'm okay with a mediocre program. I'm okay with a mediocre commitment. And this is the result of me being reflected back on them. So as the story goes, they walk into, this is a couple that I work with. They walk into this meeting. At the end of the meeting, they took off and they literally would sign up 17 of the 19 people they needed to hit their goal over the next, basically 30 hours. They enrolled almost more people in that 2 days than they enroll in an entire month. So they had an amazing results, but the difference is, this is not your typical program. This is not your typical coaching. This is where we hold you to a high standard. This is where you will get results as long as you're willing to be committed to doing the work. And because I'm here to lead you, I'm going to reflect back on you, how you show up for your commitment and the commitment you made. And I'm here to remind you that when you are committed, you can do some pretty amazing things. They're things that you never thought were actually possible. But I'm here to mirror back your level of commitment that you made to getting results. And I realize in doing this that sometimes my coaching is not for everyone. If you don't like confrontation, if you don't like being held to a high standard, then this is definitely not the program for you. If you're looking for someone to sit back comfortably, tell you, hey, it's okay you don't hit your goal. It's okay that you don't hit your commitments. It's okay that you don't show up. I'm not your coach. But if you're looking for someone who wants to hold you to a high accountability, high standard, and to ultimately get your results, my program is ultimately going to be for you. But this is not a popularity contest. This is to help my clients succeed. This is for them to create real freedom, tangible results. And if you're sitting back, allowing yourself to stay comfortable and not showing up for you, not showing up for your program, then ultimately, like, I can't help you. No one will. And so if you're listening to this, where in your life do you need to start showing up for the commitments that you made and stop relying on coaches to motivate you? And how could you start showing up differently for your commitment today? So I want to thank you guys for being on here today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to me, Jesse at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse